All right, practice underway for men's basketball on the Mesa. It will be here before we know it, early November. San Diego State back on the floor at Viejas Arena. Always great to connect with Dave Velasquez, San Diego State men's basketball assistant. Aztecs with high expectations once again, getting underway. Practice for the upcoming year. Appreciate it, Coach. Thanks for taking time with us here on John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. Great seeing you earlier. For our listeners, what's it been like? You've been on the floor for the last couple of weeks with this new team, a lot of returning pieces, some new additions as well. What have the first few weeks of practice been like?
It's been great, and I first of all appreciate you having me on. But our guys have came back. They all came back in really good shape. This is our first time being as a team. It's not the first time we've seen them all summer, obviously. First time being on the floor together as a team, and it's amazing how much faster, how much more smooth things can be ran from a practice standpoint when you have so many returning guys. That's what coaches look for. You can move faster through getting the habits back, getting the fundamentals right, and then where you can move on and really get to the kind of the meat and potatoes of what we do and the foundation of what San Diego State basketball is. And we've had our new guys have picked up this stuff very quickly due to the fact that most of the returners, if not all of them, have really been out there for those reps over the past, 2, 3, 4 years, whatever it might be. So it's been good. It's been great so far, and we're hoping that we can continue to stay healthy as much as we can as we move forward through the summer.
What's the feeling like knowing you have so many players from last year's team returning this year?
That's always a hard question because you need the guys that are returning to make their own individual jumps, from whether it's freshman to sophomore to junior, or, let's use Miles Byrd as an example. Last year was the first year he was a guy that, he went from being 6th, 7th on a scouting report to number 1 at times. And he's going to have to adjust, and he was making adjustments throughout the year, and now he's got to be ready to go, understand those adjustments he had to make, and be better than even he was last year. So, and that's from top to bottom from all our guys, and it's from, there's some guys that came off the bench last year that are hungry to try to earn a starting position this year and earn more responsibility and time on that floor. So it's been it's been fun to see their hunger because of what you're asking about, which is what is the ceiling. Obviously, we're incredibly optimistic with the team we have, the talent we have, the length we have on the floor, and honestly, the experience of having so many guys back and new guys.
Dave Velasquez, longtime successful San Diego State men's basketball assistant, with us right now, John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. I know people have to ask you about this because you have so much depth, and it's still only the summer, but what would you say when you're asked, is this the deepest team in San Diego State men's basketball history, or will that play out over the next 6 or 8 months?
It will play out, and I do think that it will be a really big strength of ours. Mm-hmm. Especially as you go through a season, and you're going to go. There's going to be hiccups. There's going to be times where guys go down with hopefully all minor injuries, whether it's a rolled ankle, whether it's a shoulder issue, which we had last year a couple of times, where guys are going to be able to step up and be able to rely on that bench and that depth. And when they all are healthy, we're going to have some hard decisions to make as a coaching staff, and we're going to have to probably play more guys than we usually do because the talent on this team is really deep, and it's deep at a lot of positions. And especially if, like I said, if healthy, right now we're continuing to get Magoon Guath back and get him ready to go. And then Reese Waters is, we're being very cautious with his development. He looks great, but we're still holding out on some of the live stuff as much as we go through this summer. So, and that has nothing to do with his foot. It's just kind of just making sure that Reese is going to be ready to go when the time matters the most, which is, it's not in July. You don't win a conference championship in July. It's helpful. It's a great part of your foundation of how to get there, to get to the end goal, but you don't do it in July. You do that as the season approaches.
Yeah, how is Magoon looking? How is he progressing? And word is he's put on a little bit of muscle this offseason so far.
He's almost, not from last year, but from the time he walked on campus, he's almost unrecognizable in terms of his strength and how he looks. I mean, John saw him today. He's, it's not just 20 pounds of just, eating, it's like the kid, he's really bulked up, and just even his legs and his strength in his legs as he's continuing to work on his quads and his hamstrings. and just everything about him. He's just continuing to develop exactly how you'd want a young man to develop through our program, continuing to eat better, eat right, get great sleep, and then put his time in the weight room. He's been awesome so far this summer in the weight room, and his ability to focus without being 100% healthy, with having the brace on that knee, but have a focus to wake up every day and continue to take care of the body his way he's had is, if you had to ask me what would you want from Magoon back in April, I would say exactly what we've got now in July. He's done everything we've asked him to do with everything he's going through.
What did he weigh when he got here? Where was he and where is he now?
I don't want to throw out a number, but I will give an estimate. I would guess somewhere between 30 to 40 pounds lighter.
Wow.
In 2 years.
Yeah. I would guess. I think that would probably be pretty accurate.
Yeah, 100%. Dave Velasquez with us right now. John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. I know it's early. It's only been a couple of weeks, but the freshmen, I think about the freshmen you've brought in over the last couple of years and how they've been ready to play immediately. Look at last year with Farrow and Taj DeGorville. This year, Tay Simmons and LZ Harrington. I think it's cliche, but it's true. They don't, quote unquote, look like freshmen. What have you seen in limited opportunities so far for Tay and LZ?
Well, the number one thing I've seen out of them is, one is they come with a really good background of basketball fundamentals. They've both been really well coached in high school. You can tell that they can pick things up quickly. They understand what we're asking them to do. And then the other thing is they're really mature. You know, I don't know how many follow that stuff on social media, but what Tay Simmons and LZ Harrington are is as mature of a freshman group that you could ever be around, and that's on and off the floor. That's how they even approach the weight room. How they, they're two guys that, they're freshmen, and you look up and they're in the recovery tub after workouts. You don't see that. Usually you have to teach freshmen to do that. That's not even who they are. They're very much advanced in terms of how their approach is as freshmen. And it's been great to still, there's definitely times they still look like freshmen, compared to everyone else that's out there. But they're so talented. They're incredibly coachable, and the future is so bright for both of them.
Your two guys, Farrell Compton and Taj DeGorville, coming into this year, has their offseason looked, in your opinion, and early on so far? Are the expectations for them, I'm sure, are going to be raised to another level going into the year two for those guys?
Yeah, and again, they're two guys that last year when they got here at this time, it's the first time hearing any of our voices. It's the first time hearing the terminology we're using on the floor. Your talent's one thing, but to do what the coach are asking you to do what your teammates are asking you to do, now they're doing that for LZ and Tay. Mm-hmm. And it's just amazing. It's like everything you believe in about it, being a coach and making sure that the older guys teach the younger guys, we have that now, and Tay and LZ get to look, ask Farrow and Taj questions. What did the coach mean? Like they can speak in their own kind of terms together of knowing what we want out of them. And, they've really done a good job on that part of the game. And the other thing they've done is just their bodies just look different. Our fans are going to say the same thing. I mean, I think, John, you said it to me today. I mean, Farrow just looks different. Taj looks different. They look older. They look more mature. They look more physically ready to continue to contribute. Like you said, they contributed a lot last year as freshmen. Yeah. Too, in the past few years. I mean, that's as much as any freshman's contributed in a long time, what those two guys were able to do last year.
Final one from me. I think we touched on this with you when we talked about Miles Byrd, maybe when he announced he was returning to the Mesa, but you were with him throughout the process in Chicago, the Combine. What is this offseason and the experiences he went through in Los Angeles during the training, in Chicago with the Combine? What impact will that have on him as he enters his redshirt junior fourth year on the Mesa?
I think it's just a very focus that he needs, which is to continue to work on his body, continue to put on weight. Incredibly proud of him for coming out and publicly going about his battle with diabetes and how hard it is for him as an athlete and a high-level athlete with the things he has to go through. And I think that's actually an important piece for him mentally to get over, where, people, he doesn't have to run to the back to handle that at times. And then the second thing is, to just be more consistent. And I think so for him as a coach, you want that for all your guys, work on your body and be more consistent, And I think that for Miles, it kind of it simplified things where sometimes they go to these combine things and one guy's telling them, I need to see this out of you. Another scout or NBA team saying, we really want to see it. For Miles, it was very consistent across the board. We want to see you shoot the three-point shot better and more consistent. Your numbers got to grow. And the second thing is your body's got to be more NBA ready. And I feel like those two things are things that, of course, we're going to want for him and he's going to want for himself as we move forward.
Shot it well at the Combine in Chicago, I'll tell you that. Watching those 2 days, shot the ball
Absolutely.
well, distributed well, impacted the game at both ends, which is something Aztec fans have seen for a long time on the Mesa, and everyone's looking forward to this upcoming year, which will get underway the first week of November. Dave, thank you. Great seeing you earlier today. We'll see you at the Jam later on this summer, and appreciate you hopping on.
I appreciate you guys.